Hello again. This is some days later, and the camping box, cooking box, is already in progress. I already started making the drawers, which are only a massive wooden front made of pine and a massive wooden back from pine as well, and plywood. The sides and the bottom is all plywood. This still will be covered with cherry wood. I found some cherry and I will make the fronts out of cherry. This is to cover up the ugly plywood and grain from the sides and from the bottom. I will show you how to make this drawer. It's not too difficult. As in the previous video, we made this separation wall in order to create some space for drawers. And I added a little thin piece of plywood to it which weighs nothing, because of the rails which has to install. This is with a kind of paint which is very hard to get off, and to drill holes is difficult too. So what I'm going to do is to glue it here before putting it with some kind of compound kit to this wall. I will put it on there with clamps, and like that we have the rails here. And yes, that's how I did it. I should have done it before. I didn't, and that's how I that's how I found the solution. Then I already, even though it's not covered with thin aluminum still, I already tested it with a wood gasifier, which produces more heat than an alcohol stove. And the walls barely got warm, and I got water to cook in about 10 minutes. 2 cups of big cups like this kind of cup for tea in about 10 minutes, which is okay. The wood gasifier still needs some testing, as it produced a little bit of tar, or how you call it, soot. It produced some soot, so I have to still experiment to invent a good gasifier which doesn't produce any smoke. The problem about the wood gasifier I have, it doesn't produce smoke till the moment I hold with a distance of 2 inches, for example, a pot or a cooking pot or something like that above it, and then it starts to produce a little bit of soot, and that's not what I want. So I will continue developing a good wood gasifier, and if it doesn't work, I will just use it for an alcohol stove or clean the soot, I don't know, with a wood gasifier. Okay, in this video I will show you how to make the drawers which fit in. The rails I already made. These are the rails. They are from oak. I just saw them from a plank and planed the plank first, and then saw these, and then planed them as well. Gave them some planing after I did the sawing work by hand. And the drawers I will show you now how to make them. The rails I will show you in another video. And also I already started making putting some varnish on it, as I had some varnish which was going bad, and then I decided to already varnish the assembly with 1 coat. I will give today the 2nd coat, and as you see, the wood gets very nice with the varnish. It looks like a classical thing from 100 years ago at least. By the way, I found the article in the library from a book, and it was from an old sailor's guide of how to make such a thing in the 1930s. So it's quite old. And it was similar to this box. It had drawers too here, and a compartment where you would put your cooking stove, which worked on lamp oil. But I don't believe in lamp oil. Okay, we put it away now for the moment. And now I will show you how to make the drawers, which I told you, plywood, the sides, the bottom is plywood, the back is real pine, and the front is pine. And then later on we will cover it with some cherry wood to glue it. Okay, What you do is you measure what fits in the compartment, the width and the depth of the drawer, which I did. You have to look there how your situation is. I can't just give you the measurement unless you want an exact copy of that thing which I'm making the box now. I can send you the exact measurements and a whole plan on how to make such a thing with all measurements if you are interested. And if you have your own cooking pot, but I use a universal size of cooking pot, then if you have your own, you will have to, if it's not a universal one, you need to design one which is suitable for your cooking pot. Okay, as you can see, it's two pieces of plywood. This is the front. It's a bit higher because of the rail who has to come at the side. Here has to come the next rail for the next drawer, which is up on top, above it. And what I do is I just put it like this. Doesn't have to be exactly in the place, as we still have some clearance. We can put the clamp on not too firmly. You don't clamp it too hard, and then you still can move it a little bit. And I put it in the middle like this. And then you can still move it a little bit when you don't clamp it too hard. Like this. You just look if it's to your satisfaction, if it's level, and once it is, make sure it hits the bottom, those two sides as well, and then you clamp it firmly into place. Once you are satisfied by this side, now I do exactly the same with the sides. I make sure everything is pressed down and laying on the workbench surface, and then I make sure it's even, it's level. The back is level. The back of the sides are level with the front. Sorry, with the back. Just the same like we did on the other side. Once we are satisfied about the result, we clamp it firmly into place. Then the next step is to get a pencil. And I used to do the other drawers with 3 toothpicks, just simple toothpicks. But I decided to only use 2. And then you see, oh, that's the width of the, this is the front, the width of the front, and then you do the middle, choose the middle way. You do that on both sides, and then you make a cross there where you need to make the hole. As I don't have a drill which is of 2 millimeters in diameter of wood drill, I use a metal drill. But if you use a metal drill, it doesn't have a center point, so with a nail I mark already on the places, on the crosses which I just marked with the pencil. I do it, and everywhere I mark with I don't know what it is, a prime, a nail. I made this myself. It's an oak handle. Sorry, this is beechwood with a nail, simple nail, which you pre-drill the hole, which is you make it a little bit more narrow than its diameter of the nail, and then you hammer the nail in, and you cut off its head and sharpen it with a file, metal file, and later on you can even do it with some sandpaper or sandpaper which is glued on a piece of plywood, like for example this one, and you can get it very, very sharp. The sharper the better. Okay, once we did that with the holes, we simply get a drill. A drilling, how do you call it? A drill and a drill bit of 2 millimeters. Okay, and we insert a drill bit of 2 millimeters, which is the diameter of a toothpick. And we drill those holes, 2 on each corner. And be careful that you don't drill through your hand. Well, and then the next step is 2 holes I can't reach because they are the clamp is in the way. So what I do is I insert already some toothpicks in order so that the material doesn't move. Like that, it doesn't move. And I put it the opposite way. Now I can still drill the hole carefully. We can detach the clamps and put the drill bit back in its place. And see if the other toothpicks as well fit. It seems they do. You see, one here it doesn't want to, which means we need to drill that one too. I need to make the hole bigger. So we patiently get the brill back and make that last hole bigger so that the toothpick wants to find its way. Just in case, I will put a clamp on its place to hold it all well. Okay, now we can drill the missing hole. Maybe better that way. Now we drill the missing hole here. And as well, we can insert there the toothpick. These toothpicks, they are a reinforcement a little bit, but the main goal why we are using them is to align this and to avoid it from moving when we are putting the clamps on with the glue. Because of the glue, it gets very slippery. So these toothpicks are helping us to keep everything in place when we are putting the clamps on. Okay, the next step is to get some glue, a coffee stirring stick, and to just apply some glue. Just in case, I put an arrow on each side pointing that this is the leeboard and starboard, and an arrow pointing which side is front. Because the holes are not symmetrical, it might end up starboard. I put that this is starboard side and that's the front. Starboard side, like in a ship, this is starboard, this is leeboard, this is the front. That helps me to know where to apply where to place them. Before I do that, before applying the glue, there's one thing I still would do, and that is, which makes it easier, because I apply glue on both sides, I mark a line on the inside of the plywood in order to know where to put the glue, to apply the glue on the plywood. Now we know exactly where to apply the glue. Here and here, there's a line. Then I apply a thin coat of wood glue, PVA white wood glue, the typical vinegar smell. Very strong glue at affordable prices. This one is even a little bit watertight. Doesn't mean you can make a boat from it, but it means that it can resist some humidity. Okay, now we quickly spread the glue, make it everywhere's universal thickness, not too thick, not too thin. On the end grain wood of the pine we apply a little bit more as it soaks in quite a lot on end grain wood. And now we look at the arrow, and this says that this is starboard. No, yes, starboard, and that's the front. And as you can see, the arrow helps us. Later on we will sand it away, of course. Let me see, might be that way. No, doesn't look like. Maybe it's lit that way then. Yes. Maybe yes, maybe no. We don't know. We will find out soon, sooner or later. I didn't mark that one. Okay, those are inserted, those ones. Quickly now we spread the glue here as well before it dries. And we do the same there. We look at the arrow and it says that way. This is the front. Like that. Now we need to find out which one is coming where. It looks that this one is okay. We want to be sure, of course. It rests on the bottom. Next time we need to mark what is the front and what is the bottom side of the back. We forgot that. Okay, it looks okay. Both are level with the front. Now the next step is to make sure they are everywhere as deep in, as deep till they hit the end of the hole. There they are, and then I break them off. I just break them off like that. No. They're still long enough to use for the next project. And then I put on each side, I put 3 clamps. 3 little ones. Not too tight, just enough that you notice that you give enough pressure on it that you notice that the glue starts to squeeze out. That's a good sign. When your glue starts to squeeze out, it means you applied more than enough. If there isn't any glue coming out, it means either that you don't give too much pressure on the clamps, or you didn't use too much glue. Not enough glue, I mean. So, and that's how I put the clamps on, this way. 3 clamps is more than enough, even a bit exaggerated, would say some professionals. I don't really care. I put them with moderate pressure, not too much, because otherwise you end up leaving a mark on the plywood, and that's not necessary. Just moderate pressure. And the same we repeat on the front side. This is the front. Make sure that it is exactly in the middle, the clamp. And the last one in between, coming from the other side this time. This is one that doesn't seem to want to work, so I need to use another one. These Chinese clamps are really a nightmare, but they were affordable to me. Some of them, they don't work when you buy them. Okay, now we leave this to dry for some hours. Still, you can't put too much pressure on it, but this evening, for example, it's now, let me see, it's 5 o'clock, and in the evening at 10, that's 5 hours later, I will put on the bottom. I will show you how to mark the bottom and how to sew it. It's not too easy, not too difficult. And then with some toothpicks, we do just the same. We glue it into they are a reference. They are aligning dowels. They make that the thing doesn't move, the bottom, and then we can put on the clamps as well. Of course, before putting any gluing anything there, you need to make it flat, and I will show you how I make it flat, the bottom. And the more accurate you work, of course, the better the result will be. And this is how I do it. The sides of these two fronts, which are a bit thicker than the plywood, they need to be very, very square. If you don't saw them square, you will end up with a drawer which is not 90 degrees. This one is, believe it or not, it's 90 degrees, but exactly. That is because I saw it very well, and then I file it 90 degrees, just pass it with a sanding block or file afterwards. But as you can see, this is really done more than enough. I'm very happy with the result. It looks okay. That's what you want. You want a straight drawer. You want it 90 degrees. Otherwise, it won't fit. And okay, in the next video, I will show you how to do the bottom, and also how to glue on, to plane the wood and glue on the cherry front in order to cover the ugly end grain wood of the plywood, and how to do the rails. I might show you as well. And then the drawer section of the camping box is ready, and we can start making the grate, the front lid and the top lid of the cooking box, and the grate for the cooking. Thanks for watching, and I hope you will succeed with your projects.